I became a dog mom 17 months ago. I have a Maltipoo, a Maltipoo, a Maltipoo. And although these items aren't breed specific, these are the 5 things I think you need. A crate or 2, a harness, slicker brush, high quality food, and interactive toys. When I was doing research on getting a dog and all the things that I was going to need, I actually thought a crate was going to be a really bad idea. I thought it was like putting your dog in jail. I thought it was a punishment for them. It wasn't until I did more research and actually brought Rio home that I realized this is a must-have tool. And 17 months later, it's something that I'm still using. I learned very early from other dog trainers that it is a timeout. It's not a punishment, but a timeout. And when you give them treats while they're inside of it, that's how they start to see it. I was also told that my dog should be sleeping in his crate the very first night home. I thought, no way, my dog is going to be sleeping in my bed every night, which he does. But I was told that the first night they need to be in their crate. So I put him in there. I was prepared for an entire night of screaming and crying and barking. And guess what? That didn't happen at all. He didn't make a single sound, and he actually slept through the entire night, his first night home. So I couldn't believe how quickly he had adapted to it. I don't know if he spent time in a crate before he came to me, but he took to it very well. I accidentally ended up getting 2 crates, so I have one downstairs, one upstairs. I love both of them. Rio is a hyper-reactive Velcro dog, and so those 2 crates come in handy. There's often times where I just need a break from him. He wants to follow me everywhere. Sometimes, gets upset when he can't have his way and throws a tantrum. And when I have a million things going on in the house, I need a break, and that's where he goes. So as you can see, he just walks right into it. He already knows that's where I need him to be and that he won't be there that long. I think the most he'll spend in his crate is maybe an hour at the longest, but he already knows he's going to get back out and run the household again, because that's what he does. I thought I was going to be using a collar on my dog like everybody else, so I bought him a nice expensive one that had his name on it. And when he came home, I put it on him. I also bought him a harness because I work out of my car, so I knew that he needed to have something that was going to attach to a seatbelt so that he could be safe. He had both of them on. They looked really silly, and I just kind of quickly realized it's got to be one or the other. It can't be both. I also didn't like that when you have your dog's collar attached to the leash, you're always pulling on their neck. That sounds like a no-brainer, but I didn't really realize it until I tried to walk him that way and realized I don't like walking him by pulling on his neck. I prefer the harness where all of the pressure is on his chest. So I very, very quickly got rid of the collar, and I'm very happy that I did, because within the last 6 or 7 months, he has been diagnosed with having tracheal collapse. You can hear that here. And that is just some sort of condition in which the rings in his throat are weakening. Even though he's very young, and this is supposed to happen to older dogs, it's going to get worse over time, and you don't want any pressure on the neck with a collar. So I was already done with a collar when I found that out, but this really cemented that a harness is the way to go. And I love harnesses. We have a million of them in so many different colors. They are so cute. To me, it's like the equivalent of your dog wearing a different shirt every day. But we have so many of them, and they have been extremely helpful in terms of just walking him outside, having him look nice, and even pulling him out of really bad incidents. We've had some incidents with other dogs approaching him and being aggressive, and I've literally had to pull him out of harm's way, and pulling him up by the chest with the harness has allowed me to do that. There's no way I could do that with a collar. So a harness, if you are in your car all the time, or even just a few times a week, however often you're okay with having your dog with you, a harness is absolutely the safest way to go, and the most stylish too. The only toys that I had for Rio before I got him were some stuffed animals and some balls. I thought that was all he was going to need. I underestimated how much energy he was going to have all the time. Not only as a puppy, but even as an early teenager is what I think he is now at 17 months old. I learned very quickly with the stuffing toys that he's just going to rip through them, take the stuffing out, and he actually likes to swallow it. He will rip up toilet paper and paper towels and not swallow them, but something about the stuffing, he just has to swallow it. So he's still got a few of them, but I monitor him closely. And it took him a while before he really caught on to the concept of me throwing a ball and him running out to catch it. So since I'm with him all the time, I was able to just play with him all the time. But sometimes you just have things that you need to do. You can't be with your dog all the time, and you don't want to put them in the crate all the time either while you go and do those things. So I recently discovered these reactive toys in which I can put treats in them and he can play with them and just stay busy for a little bit while I go do something else or sit nearby and work on something else. So these have been an absolute game changer for me. It just gives me a little bit of free time, peace of mind, and allows him to keep his freedom outside of the crate because he's got something else that he can focus on. In the beginning, he was toy motivated. He is now very food motivated. So these interactive toys come in handy because that's what I put in them. And he sniffs them out very fast, but it at least buys both of us some time and gives him something else to do without me having to be present to throw the ball or, wrestle with him all the time. Before I brought him home, I had signed up for a monthly pet food subscription service. It was about $120 a month. I thought, expensive is good, fresh, wet food is good. So that's what I had him on for probably a good 6 months before I switched to a different brand that I can now buy in stores. But I knew that I did not want my dog to have cheap, big bags of junk food, processed crap. I didn't want him to have that. And so I went ahead and splurged and got him some expensive stuff. He still eats that way, but I wanted to make sure that he had high quality food. Most of his treats are also one ingredient animal-based snacks. I may be over-treating him, but he does enjoy a largely healthy diet with a few things in there. It's just like us humans, we like to have a little bit of our junk food, but that is something that I would recommend. You hear a lot about all these different brands, what's good, what's not, based on what's expensive and what's cheap. Ultimately, you're going to do what's best for you and your budget. But for us, we do prefer fresh, wet foods. That's largely what he eats, with some healthy, dry snacks. And so far, we haven't had any issues with his diet. The last item would be having the correct grooming brush. I made the mistake of getting this one here on Amazon because it had really high ratings. I don't know what I was thinking, but as soon as I opened it and used it, I realized this is not the right brush for a puppy that has a lot of hair that mats up very easily. And his vet had to recommend to me that a slicker brush was the brush that I needed. I also made the mistake, since I didn't have the correct brush, of not brushing his hair very often. I thought, oh, he's still a baby. I can still run my fingers through it. I don't really need to worry about brushing his hair that often. That ended up being a huge mistake because, as you can see here, I allowed his hair to get matted so badly. He ultimately needed to be completely shaved all the way down. And I really liked his hair. I loved what it looked like long at the time, and I didn't want to cut it, but I had to get it done because we had a chain groomer refuse to see him because of how matted he was. So I hired a mobile groomer. They shaved his hair all the way down. And ever since then, I have been using a slicker brush. And I've found that that's the best brush to get through his hair without him fighting me on it all the time. He still does that, but it really gets out all of the tangles. And I only brush his hair once a day and keep it short so that it no longer mats up. But that is the best brush for a dog with that poodle mix type of hair. And groomers will charge you more simply because their hair is a little bit tougher to deal with. But once you let it get matted, it's a bit, it's very difficult to undo. So that slicker brush has been a lifesaver. I think I've got about 3 of them. And I also use a flea comb now to help get rid of all of the gunk that dogs get in their eyes every morning. So those 2 items together help him look more put together and just keep his skin and hair a lot healthier than they were before I had them. As a side note, I'm still working on how to remove the tear stains from his eyes. That's a very difficult one. Lots of people have lots of answers, but so far the Artero Pretty Eyes has done a good job of keeping it light. But for the most part, I largely just have to cut that hair out so that it's not as noticeable. I hope that list was helpful to you guys. Those are the 5 things that I love, need, and use on a daily basis to help me with taking care of my Maltipoo. I'll be making more videos like this, so make sure you guys subscribe and watch our shorts every day. Thanks.